You're not going to.
Grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue Lord's blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Good evening, Broncos country, and welcome to Bourbon Broncos OWBN Postgame Podcast here on a Victory Monday. My name is Kevin. I got Scott the Flagman here with me today, and we are going to be breaking down this fantastic game between the Broncos and the Falcons. Well, it's fantastic for one side anyway. Scott, how you doing tonight, sir?
I tell you what, I am doing just fantastic. I mean, how can you not be after seeing how we rebounded and bounced back from that disappointing loss in Kansas City?
For sure. No, I think for me, it was fantastic. But let's keep in mind here that game was actually pretty close if you think about it. Like, that game for a minute there was really close, and then kickoff happened, and the Broncos ran away from it. So that's essentially how it went down.
It was tied, wasn't it, at one point?
It was, and then it wasn't. It was not tied for very long, and it stayed that way the entire game. One thing to note here, Scott, the Broncos have not been below 500 since week 4. Okay. The Broncos have allowed only one touchdown in 9 quarters of football.
Wow. Man.
I mean, fantastic numbers these guys are putting up left and right, everywhere you look.
They are nothing short of dominant right now, you know. Yeah. And you take away just that Ravens game, and they've been dominant most of the year, and so there's hope, and you know, now we're starting to see the offense kind of come around. Bo Nix is. He and Sean Payton seem to be working in tandem finally, you know. And,
yeah, exactly.
And the play calling seems like it's just much more thoughtful and purposeful, and everything kind of is. It's not just calling in plays to call in plays. Everything's setting up everything else, and that's what's exciting. And that's right. What play callers do. They kind of weave everything in to what they're doing. And that's where, you know, Shanahan was a master. I mean, he just was. He'd come out and he always had something in store for the other team and made them think. Something maybe they hadn't seen before. We're starting to see that. The playbooks really starting to open up a little bit more. Yeah.
You know, there's trust. So, you know, I think it's not just so much, and a big part of it is, and my internet keeps crapping out here. A big part of it is that Sean Payton and Bo Nix are on the same page. They're starting to understand each other better. Paula, how you doing this evening? We also got Jimmy and Michael up in here. Jimmy, I saw you on Sunday. Awesome to see you, buddy. They're not only on the same page, but there's trust, primarily from the Sean Payton to Bo Nix side of, I think he was even talking about in the post-game press conference, and he was saying, look, I'll call some plays or whatever based off of some looks, but if we don't get those looks, Bo is going out there and making decisions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talk about what you want your rookie to do. It's not that he's just wrote memorization of the playbook and he knows exactly what the players. He's understanding the defenses he's facing. He's going out there and able to look at what that look is. Does he need to change the play? Does he need to come up with something else on the fly? And Sean Payton is trusting that. He's going back, he's looking at the tape, and he's saying he's making the right calls. He's learning, he's coming about, but man, how can you just, I was going to wait to do it later in the show, Scott, but I have to now. Dude, Bo, leave. Leave Bo. I do it. It's if I could, I would carry this around my wallet, man.
I like it. I like the fact that everybody's getting involved. Everybody. I think he threw to 8 or 9 receivers yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think that's just amazing. It keeps people focused. I'm still, not to throw a negative out there. Lil Jordan's got to start catching and holding on to the ball. I mean, we kind of got away with one there. And and they're just scratching the surface with Vele. I'm waiting for that game where they say, this is your game. Because it just seems like every week
you're the star.
He's picking somebody, and that's who he's going to run the offense through.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they've done that yet with Vele. Even though he got a bunch of catches the first game of the year, the guy, even when he's not open, he's open. He just is catching everything.
Get you to be a little louder, Scott. Everyone wants to hear what you have to say. Okay. It's true. I mean, you got some good takes, man. So, look, you're right. Vele, and that's what we're talking about here is Devon Vele is on the precipice here of really just knocking out of the park. I mean, you look at what he did yesterday, 4 for 5. I can't remember what that one was, but I don't think it was really his fault. I think it was just well-defended ball or something. But yeah, week 1 had a great game, and then was a healthy scratch for like 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks. Yeah. And I was like, why? You saw what he did in week 1. And then what does he do? He comes right back and picks up right where he left off, And I'll tell you what, Scott, looking at replays and everything, I just really appreciate how he handles himself. He's very just professional, I'm not saying like I love Sutton's attitude too. Sutton is very energetic and stuff, but he's not a diva. I don't get that diva feel from Vele at all either. Like he just like, I'm doing my job. I caught the ball. He goes off to the sideline. He's like, yeah, okay. There's no expression.
He's a rookie, but he's a grown man. I mean, he's 26 years old, 25 years old. As a lot of these guys that come out of the Utah, BYU area, because they go on these missions, he's a grown man. And so while he's a rookie, he's very mature. And I think that's just a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. We'll definitely talk more about Vele as we go on, because I want to hear from you guys. Like, what is your take on Vele? But Ken, this is a good point that I was, and we'll talk more about the game here in just a second, but I just want to talk about this. I think I keep coming back to it all day. Laughing at the guys who said that Bo was a bust the second that we drafted him. Bo didn't even have a chance to answer a single question from the media. He didn't even get, to the facility yet. And everybody was just like, Bo's a bust. That's the worst pick. Broncos are going to be lucky if they win 5 games this year. This guy is terrible. They're going to be looking for another quarterback next year. You'll have a top 5 pick. Man, They are eating crow, just like Michael said. And I want every single one of them to go back on camera and look us right in the eyes and be like, I was wrong. I apologize, because Bo Nix is just playing lights out.
Well, it's funny because, you got Penix that came in late in the game, and he jumps off the screen. I mean, that throw down the middle, holy moly, it's so effortlessly.
Mm-hmm.
But that sometimes that arm talent is, can get you into a lot of trouble.
Yep.
Greasy never had a great arm, but he was smart. Brady, you look at what Brady did, and Brady it's not like he had the strongest arm in the world, but, Cerebral, he knew where to go with the ball, and, he developed.
Yeah. This is right, though. I mean, we're cautious. I get it. I get why. I'm not ready to buy a Bo Nix jersey. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing that, but I am saying that this looks very real. When you compare him to the quarterbacks we've had in the past, all the guys that you're listing off, I think Bo Nix is looking like he has the good combination of almost all of them. He has good arm strength. He's learning. His brain is coming around to it all. Jimmy said the game's slowing down for him. Like, there you go, man,
Yeah, he just looks comfortable right now. And he's not taking bad sacks. I mean,
last week he did. He learned. He
doesn't seem to make a lot of the same mistakes. He's not putting the ball in danger. And I think you're going to have a game where he just is he is making plays that you don't expect. I think that's the next step. He's definitely not running as much as he was. And I don't know if that's just because the line's different or if he was told, hey, don't run so much. But I want to see him move around and avoid the rush while looking to throw downfield.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so crazy about Mahomes. I mean, you look at Mahomes, it's not like he is throwing the ball 40 yards every play. So much of his stuff is that 10-yard, 8-yard garbage pass that somebody turns into a 60-yard touchdown.
Yep. You have the playmakers. Yep.
So, and right now, I'm not sure what we got. I don't know if they're playmakers yet. I think we got some talent that maybe just we were very young. Yeah. Other than Cortland, there's not a lot of age out there, not a lot of experience.
No, exactly. And that's where it's good to spend time to develop these guys. I see why you want, or why the coaches would want, someone like Troy Franklin out there a lot at the beginning of the season. They recognize that he's somebody that needs a lot of experience. Yes. Maybe the plan was like, look, we got to see what these guys do on the field. Devon Vele, we see what you did in week 1. We know what you are. We see that practice every day. We know that, I know it sucks for you right now, but we need to see what we have in these other guys as well. And now we're at this turning point of the season of, hey, we could make a real push for a playoff run, or at least an entrance into the playoffs.
Yes.
If we play our cards right. And so I think the transition here from the coaching staff, from the plays I've seen called in my very vast experience of coaching and analyzation of coaching, is that it seems to be we're calling the numbers of the right players more often versus we need more tape of this play for this guy. No matter what, throw the ball to him because I want to see how he runs the route. I want to see what he does against this defender, right? It's we need to win this game. Let's go make it happen. And that's where you're seeing Devon Vele become more active. But I think it's also like everybody's playing up a level almost as well. I mean, you look at what Humphreys did yesterday. You look at what who else? I mean, Atkins, again, big game. Marvin Mims, big game. These guys are all kind of I mean, I don't know, man. I could go on and on, but it looks great.
Yeah. I'd like to see a game where they also look at, utilizing Jaleel a little bit more too.
Mm-hmm.
Just, get him some touches. It was nice to see him come up with different ways to get Mims the ball. Running out of the backfield, that one pass where he come out of the backfield and caught it down the sidelines. I was kind of hoping he would make a move to the middle, but, he's showing that speed. I mean, you talk about a nicely designed play. And we just need to continue to see more of that, more development. I'm excited with what I'm seeing, and I'm just chomping at the bit to see it. We're going to make some hay in the next couple weeks. Not to overlook the Browns and the Raiders, but we should destroy both of these teams. One on the road, let's beat their ass and then go catch a buffet.
Exactly.
Maybe hit a couple spots. And then we got the big Monday night game against the Browns, and then
it's a bye week.
It's prime time, man. Let's do it.
It's prime time going into our bye week. I mean, this is as good as it gets for the Broncos right now. I can't remember the last time we were in this good of a position, because we haven't even been close to this kind of position since the Peyton Manning era.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, man, the Raiders, there's no reason now it's all predicated on right here, Clayton. Man, oh man, our defense. If our defense can hold, we have 100% of a chance against any one of these teams. When our defense has an off day, you have the Ravens game. Okay? Who freaking lost to the Steelers. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
Whatever. They put up 41 on us, but
so I guess that tells us we better watch the Browns too, because the Browns were able to beat them.
Yeah, but then the Browns lost to New Orleans. Like I don't know, but look. Well, the point is, as long as we're consistent, if our defense shows up, if our offense is somebody smart and protecting the ball, which is what we've seen, Bo Nix, like that's one of the consistents we've seen from Bo Nix since week 1, is how much he protects the football. Yes, those first couple weeks, there were a few. They were tipped. Some of them were his fault. The one main one that we can all think back to is when he was asked about in the postgame press conference, what happened there? Well, yeah, I dropped back and I threw the ball to the wrong player, to the other team. But since then, dude, it's like, where do I go in terms of like criticizing this team?
They've got a really good chemistry, and it's been a minute since we had a team that you felt like they had each other's backs. Not just the defense having other defensive players' backs, and not just the offense, although nobody had their backs on the offense because they all stuck. But, this team is playing not just Denver Bronco football, they're playing for each other. They're Sean has convinced them that they're just being disrespected every week. And they're out there trying to show everybody that, hey, you think we suck? Well, we'll show you.
We're here.
Yeah.
We're here.
I mean, there's so much good going on. And but there's still so much improvement that can happen, which is exciting as well.
Right. Well, no, I think there's a lot of things you can still continue to improve on. And some of that comes through just experience, different game situations, different game environments. But, what we see from him in terms of like, when he goes on the road to Kansas City, he has poise. He knows how to, stand his ground. He doesn't let things get flustered. It doesn't matter if it's a game-winning drive in a hostile place like Kansas City. He can get out there and he can get the job done. he can deliver the ball. Then when you're at home against okay, it's still an NFL level team, but you take care of business. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And basically 85% completion rate. He missed 5 of his 33 passes, dude. When's the last time we saw a Broncos quarterback go out there and only miss 5 passes?
And it talking about interceptions, his last interception was that first pass against the Ravens, which
was a tipped ball.
I don't know that it was all on him.
No.
So, it's amazing. He is really, it's not like he's playing super, super safe, but he's being smart. And he's
exactly.
This was the first game. It looked like he knew that he had some open passes and he was going to take them no matter what. I mean, that ball he threw to Vele was covered. But
which one? Multiple, I think all of them were.
And that man he's like a vacuum. He just grabs that ball and it ain't going anywhere. No, there was one where he got hit hard after, and I think probably about 50% of the wide receivers in the league would have dropped that ball the way he was hit and the intensity he was hit. And the fact he had just caught it. No, I mean, it's football. If you're going to get hit, you might as well hold on to the ball. And Vele is like the complete personification of that idea. Look, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to hold on to the ball, though. And I'm going to go to the sideline and just be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, no big deal. It's fantastic. And so, Ken here, I like this comment. The Broncos, who are the Lions were 3 years ago, building a winning culture, huge number one step, and it takes time. Bringing in young talent through the draft. We finally have been able to find a winning strategy of doing that. And then the next part of this phase is free agency. And that discussion will come in time, whether it's this next offseason or the one after that. But you got to grow the team up organically first. And I think that's what we've been doing. Breaking news, Scott. Broncos have been named the NFC South champions this year after demolishing all 4 teams. I want to take credit for that, but that was from the Broncos PR staff. And man, great post, guys. Tip of the hat to y'all. Broncos NFC South champs. What do you think, bud? Well, you know what? Champs of anything is good. Sometimes people, I'm like a wing eating champ, and I'll tell you what, I brag about that all the time about how many wings I can put down and how hot I can eat. Doesn't really mean much to anybody else, but to me, it's good. So
all that matters.
It's nice that I know the Broncos are saying that and they're doing it tongue in cheek. I like the fact that they can actually have a little fun now, and I think that's awesome. Yeah. Because you gotta have, it can't be just so intense because you're going to get it, they're going to start breaking down if it's too intense. We want to hold that intensity till we are actually in the playoffs, and then I have no doubt that Sean will have them ready. I've not seen, other than the Chargers and the Ravens games. We've looked like we belong on the field with anybody
every single week.
Even the Chargers, it got a little out of hand quickly, but we clawed back. The Ravens was the one game that it just was over after halftime.
The defense just didn't come back out.
What was it like 70 seconds left in a half, and we let them plays. I don't know. I think that's how you learn, though. You're going to have some disappointments.
Right. Well, it's one of those, it's a young team, and they're all experienced playing the game, obviously, but when you reinforce that lesson, or maybe they haven't seen it in a while, until that clock says 0, until that whistle blows, you got to keep going, because otherwise, quick touchdown like that, they get the ball again after halftime, this game's out of hand real quick, So, and then it's almost like the offense can't do anything at that point. So it's good for the defense to have learned that, and Obviously, a win would have been better, but whatever. The Chargers game, I'm still going to chalk that up to 80% of that was because Pat Surtain just all of a sudden going down. That's a huge momentum shift. I mean, think back to when we had Von Miller. Think about Von Miller going out at the beginning of the game, and just like, or Peyton Manning, if he had gone down at the beginning of the game, Exactly. So,
talking about Von Miller, though, you saw what he tweeted out yesterday.
No, I didn't.
He got the sack on Mahomes, and so after the game when they ended up winning, he said, "You're welcome, Broncos country."
Yes, thank you. But new Von Miller, Nick Bonito. I mean, this guy, the first season especially, it was like, did we get it bust? Is he going to be around for very long? Last year, okay, a little better, so maybe deserving of some more playing time this year since we're in a full-blown rebuild. And this guy is one of the names that you can say has taken full advantage of this situation he's in.
Which is crazy because he wasn't like he was a first-round draft pick.
No.
I mean, was he fifth?
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah, because he had fallen a little bit in the draft boards. I thought he was our fifth-round draft pick.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he struggled that first year, and there was a lot of negativity attached to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfairly. It was a lot of nothing.
Unfairly.
Well, and I would say so.
He's gonna start showing up here real soon, I think.
This is where it's like, wow, you're starting to get answers to all these questions we've had of, how is this pass rush team going to look, or, what kind of pieces do we still need? You can make an argument for we still need a tight end, but the tight ends are starting to come alive now, okay, it's not just Sutton, it's Sutton and Vele, and maybe one of these other guys are starting to step up too. Running back is like, well, we see signs from one guy one week and then another guy another week. So that's kind of a question area, but it's like Nick Bonito makes me feel like, okay, man, we're set there for a while. Him, Cooper, inside linebackers are looking better. Wide receivers. It's like, I don't feel as much panic in terms of where this roster is as I did at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Well, I think the interior of that line, that defensive line, they're your hard hat guys. Nobody really talks about them, but no. Man, we got a couple gems. The New Orleans pickup. I mean, we've shored up that middle of that line. Yeah, and it's kind of let our outside guys kind of roam a little bit and really turn loose a little bit. You're also seeing improved play in the one area that I've always thought we never invested enough in, and that's inside linebacker. And you're starting to see it now that these guys are taking up those blocks, and you get somebody in there that's able to move around, and Barton's doing a good job. And somebody's supposed to be coming back. Who is it? Is it Sanders? No.
We were supposed to have a couple people coming back. It might have been Sanders and the other wide receiver, Reynolds.
Okay, yeah, I knew Reynolds was getting ready to come back, but I thought
somebody else.
Sanders was starting to practice again. And I think next year is his year where we start seeing some stuff from him.
Yeah. No, Brandon Jones would be interesting as well. We got to keep in mind we still have Singleton out on IR. Tyler Bidet, that's another young name that we don't have right now because he's out. So
that's an interesting one. I mean, I thought he had just I thought it was just concussion or I know he got really waxed his first game that he started, but I'm surprised he's not back yet.
No, there's no updates on him other than a month ago he was put on IR,
Yeah.
But that's okay. Look, he's young. I would rather there's not like a lot riding on this season for him right now anyway. So get him healthy, and next year let him come back and kind of pick up where he left off, because he was starting to look real good. Yeah. So I don't want to rush him back. There's no reason for that when it comes to back injuries. Let's be more on the cautious side, So that sucks. But I'm glad where we are.
He had looked so good the week before he got injured.
For sure.
Okay, so it is Sanders that's coming back. So good. I thought I had seen something about that he was released to start practicing again. So
for sure. Gary, I like this one. 4 sacks in one game says a lot about the defensive line. I mean, these sacks are coming from everyone though too. But it does say a lot about defensive line. It says a lot about the pass protection. Some of these are coverage sacks. Quarterback's just not finding anyone open back there. So if he has to hang on to the ball for 3 or 4 seconds, that gives us opportunities for a sack. Then alternatively, you look at us, we only allowed 1, and that was more like, Scott, you said we sacked ourselves.
Yeah, he tripped over, I think it was McGlinchey or something.
Yeah.
He went back. But, it's amazing. And Cousins was getting rid of the ball. It wasn't like he was standing back there for 4 or 5 seconds. And he just time ran out on him. He was getting back and then he was getting pressures immediately, and he's not super mobile. It just caught up to him in the end. And so I always used to say it's hard to throw completions when you're laying on your back.
Yeah.
You can be Patrick Mahomes, but if you're laying on your back, you're probably not going to complete a lot of passes. And that's what we used to do with Brady. That's why we always had the Patriots numbers, because he knew he was
got a picture right there
after it was all done. And so I'm looking forward to just some more continued growth, and hopefully, knock on wood, health of this team, that we're not losing people through injuries.
And we've been really good about that this year. I mean, it was something I remember us talking about earlier on in the season. You might not have been here yet, but we've been talking about the training staff of this team. And you think back to, again, 2-3 years ago, and just like by week 5, we were so beat up. I mean, it was just injury after injury after injury. Last year was a lot better. And this year, I mean, we're essentially one of the healthiest teams out there.
I think last year you're one of the healthier ones too. And I think that is, you talk about the training team, but it's also the coaching. You're building up calluses. You're teaching it. I mean, I think we're training smartly. We're training hard. And I mean, think about all the soft tissue injuries we were getting for the last 3 or 4 years. Last year, it was much, much better. And this year, same thing. I mean, you're going to have injuries. That is the one thing about football. 100% you're going to have injuries. But those soft tissue injuries is that stuff kills you.
It does. Because that adds up. I mean, because they're out for 3-4 weeks maybe, and then it's like, okay, well, how much time do they need to come back to get in full game shape? Are they limited on snap counts? How effective are they out there on the field? Do they trust that, that leg, that knee, that whatever that injury was? Does it slow them down? Does it impact them the rest of the year? And when it happens to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players on your team, that adds up. But sitting here right now, it's like, we have owners that are willing to invest $500 million, or was it $500,000 to replace the field twice a year? Like, it's, and it's like, okay, well, if this is the expectation that they're setting for us in terms of how they're going to run this team and the respect they're going to show towards, this team and wanting this team to be set set up for success, then it's like, man, we've got the perfect owners then too. They're not just rich, but they care. I don't care if they're rich owners, but are they going to do things that are the right things for the team and by the fan base? And over the course of 2 years, they have been. It's what is going wrong in Broncos country right now? Tell me. I can't. I don't know if there is anything.
No. Well, field goal.
Oh, yeah, Chiefs. Okay. Well, with that, let me really quickly remind everyone, if you want to feel like a champion, whenever you get sad like that, you feel down because you're like, oh, we could have beat the Chiefs, and you want to bring your spirits back up, make sure you grab some of that. Breckenridge Distillery Championship Blend, Broncos blend right here. Great stuff, guys, from Breckenridge Distillery. They got you guys covered. So great stuff. A couple to throw in this year, and also
happy. Even when you're happy, great stuff.
Sad.
That's right.
It's good, whatever. It kind of helps. It's just it's a mood enhancer, one way or the other, and it's a good thing to have. And if you're like, I don't like the whiskey, that's fine. They have vodka too, so you have no excuses. You have your homework assignment is to go out and buy alcohol if you're watching the show. Just kidding. Don't. I'm kidding. No legal. Captain told me no. 21 years and older only, valid ID to buy, let me just going to get a call from the lawyer tomorrow. Like I have a lawyer. That'll be, I didn't know I had a lawyer. Well, you do now. Let's see.
You better get one.
Lawyer on a budget. Let me see if I can Google that. Let's see. Paul, you can get out of here, buddy. We're not even going to go that way. Anthony, how you doing, man? That's life in Broncos country. Good to see you. Look, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I can't get that here in Vegas. Man, hopefully they start expanding out soon. I'm not sure, or if, next time you come out here, come out to a game and make that be a reason to stop by and get some. Scott, let's see, man. Look, Broncos are looking good, and we've talked a lot about just reactions from the game. I don't think there's really been a need to go through play by play just because it was Broncos domination, the whole thing. We kind of talked about it throughout the show. I know you and I talked about it a little bit beforehand as well. I want to get your take on the running back position, because for me, this has been the most intriguing in that I came into the season saying that was the best position group of our team. And then it's gone up and down, and Javonte and Bidet and Estime and fumbles and inconsistencies and who's number one. So, man, what's your take on that? Because now I'm sitting here saying, like, that's the most wishy-washy position of our team right now.
That is a real head scratcher. They came out, they opened up with Javonte. That first run was 2 yards, I think. And everybody around me was like, what are we doing? And I was talking to the guy next to me. I said, it just looks better when it's not Javonte. And I love Javonte. And I was always advocating he should be getting the lion's share of the snaps when we had Melly Mel out there fumbling the ball. And it's unfortunate that he got injured. I still am of the belief that the holes get hit faster and get hit more effectively when it's one of the other backs. Okay.
Yeah.
Not that Williams doesn't have a place out there. I mean, he's a good pass receiver. He's a good blocker. And then, you saw what he did on his touchdown run where he was stopped, but he never did go down. And then the rest of the team just basically pushed him in.
Picked him up.
Yeah.
Love it. But he didn't go down. He stayed up long enough for them to pick him up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And but I agree. I mean, something eventually we're going to have to come up with a person that is our go-to guy. And I thought it was Estime after last week. But I was shocked this week. I mean, at one point, he had the same amount of carries as the fullback.
Yeah.
How does that even happen? And
Fair question.
I don't know. I'm sure those coaches have a plan, but I don't know what it is.
I don't see it.
I don't see it. I mean, it'd be nice if we could just effectively run the ball.
For sure. Because that was, you could say, was the problem at the beginning of the game, was we were only averaging like 2.5, 2.4 yards per carry for a while there. It's like we're kind of becoming one-dimensional. Now with a team like, the Falcons with the defense they have, not a great pass rush, not a great pass defense, so you can get away with it. But what about these other teams where you're going to need a more stout run game? Who's that guy going to be? Right now, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you who they would start at the beginning of these games. Is it going to be McLaughlin? Is it going to be Estime? Is it going to be William? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that's to throw the other teams off so they don't know who to prepare against. But maybe that's also just us going, let's try this guy this time.
Yeah, let's hope hopefully this guy's got the hot hand. And I don't know. I don't know that, hope's not a very good strategy.
Yeah.
I guess I have a little bit of faith that they do actually have a plan for it. I'm just not sure what the plan is.
Yeah. So, I get it, Michael, and I know why a lot of teams are kind of switching they're getting away from the bell cow. You have at least two that are handcuffed to each other that, it's a 1-2 punch kind of a thing. We kind of have this 3-person rotation kind of going. I'm not sure what you want to call that. But I mean, look, in the days with Terrell Davis, and kind of look at what Hunter Henry or what King Henry does, basically. Like they go out there, they just they just run and they run and they run and they run, and they'll run through anyone, they'll run through anything, they'll run over anything, and they're just going to keep moving, and you're not going to be able to bring them down. And I don't know how they do it, but they do. And it's like, so you can prepare all you want to stop Henry. You can spend your entire week on that. It ain't going to work. He's still going to run through you. I'd almost rather have that guy. Now, I get if he goes down, you're screwed, unless you have two of that guy, which you probably don't. But you get a guy that's resilient and tough like that, like Terrell Davis, like Henry, and you can be insanely successful with that.
Yeah. Well, and, a lot of that is that, that West Coast offense. You look at San Francisco. I mean, they've been down Christian McCaffrey all year. But, they were running out backs, and they were actually still running the ball. So some of it is system. But right now, I don't even know what we need to be more consistent. I think we only ran it, 12 times the whole game? Something like that? I have to look.
Yeah,
I think
much.
Williams had 8, maybe. Wasn't much more than that. And obviously the weakness of Atlanta was their pass defense. And we exploited that, which was fun to do. It definitely made for a very relaxing, entertaining game. Fan, that's for sure.
The fourth quarter was very nice. Yes. When it's just like, there's no way. By the time it was, 35-6, I was like, we can kick our feet back a little bit here. So, and look, we're not the Lions. I can't remember, somebody before was like, we're like the Lions with Dan Campbell. I would say that we could have stayed out there, been a little more aggressive, and try to put up the same number of points as the Lions did, 52-6. But I'm okay with us, pulling it back at 38.
Yeah, me too. It's almost like somebody was betting the
over.
Vegas had it on the nose at 44. That was what the over-under was. So
gotcha.
How they were able to accomplish that, but
who knows?
Some very upset people that we either scored too much or couldn't get one more field goal.
I mean, how many people took the Broncos to get anywhere over 30 points, let alone 38.
Yeah, I think I was looking at a game. I figured about it was going to be like 28-21. I mean,
Sure.
I really thought we would get that over at 44. Because, again, I thought Atlanta was going to be a lot more offensive.
Yeah.
And really all they were was offensive.
Oh,
They were
offensive.
terrible. I had a friend she's from Georgia, and I asked her where she was, why she didn't stop by. She says, well, we got there late. I said, yeah, so did your team.
Paducha. Those Falcons. I hear they have to walk back to Atlanta. They're not allowed to fly anymore.
They weren't flying very high.
Really?
I
Scott.
some of the Falcon super fans that were walking around with those championship belts. Nobody could tell me what the belt represented.
Yeah. What did you win to get? What did you win to get said belt? Did you buy that maybe at like halftime of Super Bowl 51 where you kind of assumed the game was basically over? And you're kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy this now before the mad rush. I can get it early. And then you're like, well, I got to wear it because I bought it. No.
There was about 3 or 4 of those guys walking around with championship belts.
And it's like, put that away until you win.
What did it represent? And they just kind of chuckled and
nothing.
Because they were nice.
Well, for all the people who didn't get to go to the game, the Broncos did want to remind all the Falcons fans and the players of Super Bowl 51 when they brought up on the big screen. Super Bowl's won by Atlanta, won almost. And the whole stadium was just like, ooh, damn, and this is, I don't get it, but you know what? Teach their own, I guess. If you want to walk around with a championship belt, then you can do that.
You got
it's America.
I mean, you fan how you fan. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I admire that. I've always said that about Raider fans, and I hate the Raiders.
Oh, sure.
But you got to give them a little tip of the cap that
I do.
They either are totally delusional and don't realize it, or they're just really committed.
Yeah.
They're committed to that role of, I'm going to support my terrible, awful, lousy team.
No matter what. And I give them props to them, you know. I mean, that's what I've been doing the last 8 years, but now we're on the happy side, and we can look at other fans who support crappy teams and be like, ha ha, ha 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 ha. You laughed at us, now we get to laugh at you. Which, speaking of the Bears losing in the same exact fashion against their divisional rival, except they were home. But it was like, okay, that was the same thing. Anyway.
That's a terrible organization. I'm sorry.
Oh, Bears. Well, Scott, we are getting close to the end of the time here, man. Thanks for joining me. Let's get some closing thoughts on you, man. Look, Broncos country, you talk about the difference a week makes. You talk about the difference a week makes. Last week we were sad and gloomy, to say the least, and now we are very, very happy. What is your approach here? How do we take this moving forward, dude?
I think you just gotta keep sawing wood, man. You just gotta keep going. And, you know, just like you gotta let those losses go, let the win go. Enjoy those later. And let's focus on the Raiders. The only way the Raiders can compete with us is if we give them opportunities to get going.
Sure.
I'm not sure. They got a lot of injuries, but there's a lot of strife on that team. And boy, if you can just kick them in the head immediately, by second quarter, they're
fall
going to
apart.
be thinking about going and catching a show over at the Mirage.
Probably.
And that's the direction we go. And it's Vegas, man. It isn't a home field advantage for the Raiders this year. Maybe years where, well, they haven't ever been good, but maybe years where they're okay.
Right.
You can get it to be a home field advantage. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a lot of orange in that stadium this week.
If you can get a chance to go. Everybody out there. Could be like the LA game. Make it orange.
I don't know. Davis is making money off of other teams because those tickets, I think they're almost the highest priced tickets in the league right now, which is crazy to watch.
Right.
Watch one terribly awful team. And it makes me happy, that they are miserable.
Yeah.
I won't feel bad at all to gloat. So, but I guess the point is, let's go in there and we got a business road trip in Vegas. Let's go take care of it. Then we come home and let's take care of that Monday night game. And then we can relax a little bit and go on our bye. We can lick our wounds and refresh. And then we got the Colts.
Make one more hard push. One more hard push after that.
Richardson might be the quarterback again. I don't know. We'll see how rested he is if he's going to quit again. I'd love to see Flacco. Let's get Flacco out there and just beat him.
Right. Love it, dude. I
love
it.
I'd like to beat down Flacco, so I'm hoping that's
any chance you get to do that.
Yes.
Agreed. Let's see. The mustache is not beating us. God, no, we cannot lose to him. For the love of, I don't even think about that. I thought head kicking was a foul. Gary, I thought headbutting was not allowed in boxing either, but what we saw the other night through the grainy Netflix video was that headbutting in boxing is 100% legal. And so it's kind of the same principle in football.
I think the chief referees were judging that fight too. I don't know what the heck they were watching because it was like,
dude,
I don't know what they were watching.
They were watching the Netflix stream, which kept crashing and was all grainy. So they
confused.
That's why they were like, I'm not really sure what I saw there because that's what we were like. How did her head get gashed open?
Look at she's bleeding. Obviously, somebody hit her hard.
How did we not see her skull? That was so deep. I was like, stop showing it. I don't need to see her skull. Oh man, great stuff. Ravens refs? Yeah, I don't know. Possibly, very possibly. Paula says it best. Go Broncos, guys! It is time for us to end the show. I'm going to end it with I believe. Guys, this guy is, I think, I don't know what his ceiling is, but it's looking really good. And he keeps improving. He keeps learning. The mistakes are decreasing. How can you not believe at this point? So if you don't, you're wrong. I'm not saying that he's going to win like 5 Super Bowls, but he's the next quarterback for the Broncos, at least for the long-term foreseeable future. He's the guy we're going to try to build a team around. And we better hope he works out.
Sure.
Otherwise it's going to be a while till we try again.
Yes. He's much more likable than Russell Wilson, at least.
Exactly.
Those goofy quotes.
No high knees on the airplane. No, that's right. None of that. So yeah. Oh man. Let's see, guys. No Botox. No Botox. Nope. No Botox. Just he's the real deal. Unlike Botox. I see what you did there. Guys, Broncos got their work cut out for them, but very doable. So you're not going to want to miss any of the other content we have here for you guys. Bourbon Broncos No BS. Make sure you check out our Tuesday night show, Bourbon Broncos No BS at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then we got our pregame podcast. We got our pregame show. We got our halftime show We got all this stuff for you guys. We got videos out that we post throughout the week. So make sure you're following us. Make sure you hit subscribe. It's all for the algorithm that helps us out a ton. Definitely appreciate it. If you want to donate some stars, if you want to donate money to us, I'm not going to say no. Scott here does say that he's running low on Broncos memorabilia. So, we might donate to him
right there
to
above
give him. I'm just kidding. No, but in all seriousness, if you want to support us, the best way is through comments and sharing and subscribing and all that stuff. So with that being said, Scott, thank you for being here again, man. Definitely appreciate it. Great insight as always, sir.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to talk after a win. So
always, sir. Oh, and believe me, we've had a lot of talks after losses, so this is nice. Hey, man, and for everyone else who's watching, thank you very much for tuning in. Definitely appreciate it. But look, guys, it's 9 p.m., and I got nothing left to say other than end this as we always do on a very strong Go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Take care, everyone.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a